guys, I'm Steve Freeman, and welcome back to the Steve Freeman Podcast. We have just started our 12-step program for musicians, and in the last podcast, we went over step 1, which was admission. Today, we're on step 2, which is all about hope. And I'm going to talk to you about exactly what that means in today's episode. But before we jump in, guys, please, if you're listening to the podcast on Apple Podcast or iHeartRadio, do me a favor, subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching the video version on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't ever hesitate to leave a comment, leave a review, leave a like. We certainly appreciate it when you do that. If you want to find out more about me, everything you ever want to know, probably, and a whole lot you don't want to know, you can find at my website, thestevefreeman.com. All right, let's jump into today's episode. We are doing this series, this 12-part series, the 12-step program for musicians. The reason we started this, if you haven't listened to the first part of this, step 1, I highly suggest you kind of want to do this in order, so you might want to stop right here and go back and listen to the first part, which is admission. But for those of you that have, let's move right along. The reason we're doing this, and the reason I really wanted to do this, was because it's like I said in the first episode of this series, that the music business is highly addictive. It's just as addictive as any drug that I've ever known about, heard about. Now, I've never been a drinker. I've never done drugs. But I know what addiction is. I've felt addiction. I'm a smoker. I've tried to quit many, many times, and I know what that feels like. But the strongest addiction that I've ever had in my entire life is the music business. And a lot of people don't think of it in those terms. But in all honesty, I've said it in the other episode, I've seen what the addiction of this business and the pursuit of success in it can do to people. I've seen them give up their entire lives. I've seen them lose their families. I've seen them lose their homes, their relationships, their way of life. I have watched people who had just simply had enough in this business and couldn't take it anymore, from both sides of the spectrum. People that were very successful who just got tired and worn out and just couldn't do it anymore, from the people who spent years and years and years trying to achieve and obtain their goals and success in it. I've seen both of them try to walk away and not be able to do it because of the addiction. It gets in your blood, just like any other drug would. It gets in your blood, and you just, that's the way that it is. So I wanted to put together this series based on the 12-step program, but how it can apply to musicians, producers, independent artists, songwriters, anybody that's aggressively pursuing a career, and a successful career, and trying to obtain and achieve your goals in the music business. Today, we're going to talk about step 2, which is about hope. Now, in the traditional sense of the 12-step program, step 2 is all about hope. And it's about looking for a higher power for you to help you recover. Now, this can be a spiritual thing for you. Sure, it can be, searching and praying and asking God, am I on the right track? Help me get back on the right track. But I also think that for what we're talking about, it can also be a person outside of yourself that you can look to kind of give you that hope. That's what I want to transition and translate this step into musicians for. When we talk about hope, I think it's very important that when we've completed step 1, we've admitted that we're addicted to the business. We admit that we don't know what to do without the pursuit of success in this business, or being a part of it is not somehow wrapped up in completing who we are, and that it makes up a part of our DNA and how we identify ourselves. So I think when we start looking at having hope, I think we need to look at the immediate circle that we have surrounding us. Look at the people, because I will tell you, I have found this to be true in my case multiple times, that a lot of times what's caused me to kind of go down the wrong road, head in the wrong path, is that I've surrounded myself with the wrong people. Now, very key here, I want to make this clear. I'm not saying that you've surrounded yourself with bad people or bad influences. I mean, there are certainly those cases. I see that with artists that I work with all the time. They surround themselves. You get convinced that you need this team around you and you need all of this support. And that's true. As creatives, we want to surround ourselves with people that are like-minded, that believe the way that we do, that we feel like that we're on this journey with. So I'm not saying that it's bad to surround yourself with people. It's a good thing, but you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people. So oftentimes I see that people are surrounding themselves with the wrong people. Now, again, wrong doesn't mean bad, doesn't mean they're bad people, but maybe they don't share the same goals as you. Maybe you've surrounded yourself with people who you are competing against instead of surrounding yourself with people that where it's like you scratch my back, I scratch your back. We're all on this journey together. Let's help. It's almost like a carpool and everybody chipping in for gas money, except a lot of times what I see is artists end up surrounding themselves with people who just want a free ride. They're going to the same destination you are. They just figure that you've got the bigger car, so they'll hitch a ride. So when we talk about hope, I think in order to achieve that and truly have hope to change direction and get yourself on the right path, I think a lot of it has to do with taking an honest assessment and looking around and seeing who you're allowing to ride in your car with. Are these people that are giving you hope? Are these people that you've surrounded yourself with? Are they encouraging you in the right way? Are they helping you along with your journey? That doesn't mean in a financial sense or a constant sense of reassurance, because that's hard for anybody to do. No, what I'm talking about is surrounding yourself with people that understand where you're at in your career, where you're at in your life. And it comes down as simple to, it's almost like a relationship, because in all honesty, it is a relationship. The people that you surround yourself with and involve yourself with in your pursuit in this business, it is relationship. You've heard me say it a million times. This is a relationship business. It's 110% relationships. But more like in a personal relationship, what are the people that you're surrounding yourself? What do they bring out in you? Are they bringing out the best in you? Are you the best person, the best artist, the best songwriter, the best producer? Is the best of you being brought out by these people? Or is a lot of your negative side being brought out by these people? The competitiveness, the one-upsmanship, the keeping up with the Joneses. There again, it goes back to, are you feeding off the people that are surrounding you, or are they feeding off of you? When you find yourself in a situation that's right, you're going to find out that it is very much a give and take relationship. You give a little bit, you take a little bit. What I see more often than not is that people have surrounded themselves with takers. We as creatives, we are constantly looking for that next step. What's that next step that we can take? And we're talking about hope, and we all hope. We get up every day and we hope this is going to happen. We hope that the seeds that we're planting every day are going to someday grow into something that we can pick and we can eat and we can, quite frankly, sell to other people. We can take to the market and we can sell to other people, and everybody's happy. But what I find is that most of the time, artists allow themselves and put themselves in a position to be taken advantage of. And I made a comment on somebody's social media post, and then I put up something on Instagram that is so true. I get, this whole thing going on with Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun and Big Machine Records. It brings up this whole predatory thing again, and everybody starts talking about, how this artist gets taken advantage of, and every record label out there, excuse me, every record label out there is trying to take advantage of, or every producer's trying to take advantage of artists. And I say simply that an artist can only be taken advantage of when they allow themselves to be taken advantage of. Nobody is putting a gun to anybody's head and making them do anything other than Suge Knight. and that was years and years and years ago. It doesn't happen that way anymore. So nobody's making you and forcing you to make the wrong decisions. But I will tell you that if you have surrounded yourself with the wrong people, that is going to be possibly the most crucial mistake that you're going to make. It is impossible to do this and make this on your own. You need a team around you. You need help. We've talked about that in the past. But don't let the optimism of wanting to succeed cloud your judgment as to the people that you surround yourself with. I can't tell you how important that is. So as it relates to the 12-step program for musicians, step 2 is hope. You've got to look outside yourself to a higher power. Now, maybe that's self-reevaluation. Maybe that's looking and physically sitting down and thinking about it and going, okay, the last 8 months have not been fruitful. Where can I look? What higher power, what person that means something to me? Who can I reach out to that, number one, I can admit, I can take step 1, I can admit that I'm heading in the wrong direction and I've got a problem. Who around me gives me that hope? Who can I draw that selfless hope from? If you don't have that person in your life or in your career or on your team, then you've got a serious problem. And immediately you should be searching for somebody that may not be in your life right now that you need to find. Because sometimes what I find is when people honestly take an assessment of themselves, when they really sit back and look and go, okay, if I want to look around me and I want to say it's this person that I can draw help from and I can draw hope from that inspires me and really lifts me up. What I find most of the time is if you look at it honestly, most people don't have that. Because you'll think of that person, you'll think, no, they're not going to think highly of me if I go to them for inspiration and go to them for hope. Or I can't do that, it's going to make me look weak. I can't do that because I feel like that's taking a step back, or I think this person's going to look at me differently. Those are the wrong people. You've got to have somebody surrounding you in your life that you can go to and look to for inspiration, for hope, that has constantly got your back no matter what. Not people that are looking for an opportunity, not for people that are looking for you to slip so that they can slide around you and have one up on you. Not those people. I'm talking about people that have a true unadulterated passion for you. People that want to see you succeed. People that want to see you happy. Not because they have anything to gain personally from you coming to them and laying your heart out and saying, I've got a problem. I need hope. I need to be going in the right direction. Can you help me? If you don't have anybody in your life that you can seriously look at and feel that by laying your heart out on the line and asking them to be a source of inspiration and hope for you, without them thinking or somehow using that what they perceive to be as weakness in you as ammunition against you, you need to find that person and you're surrounded by the wrong people. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to surround yourself with the right people, because when you do, that's when you do have that hope. That's when you do draw that encouragement and that inspiration to get up and fight this fight every single day. It takes a village, guys. We've talked about it many times. The music business is not a team sport. It's very me. But somewhere in that process, you have got to find people that have a selfless approach to helping you, inspiring you, giving you that hope, and providing that support system for you that makes it possible for you to head and stay in the right direction and on the right path. Step 2 is hope. And I hope for you that you might listen to this and take an honest evaluation of your career and where you are and the people surrounding you. If you don't have the people surrounding you that encourage you, inspire you selflessly, I think maybe it's time to start searching for somebody different. Maybe a different group of people. Maybe a group of people that aren't in the business. I see so many of you surround yourself with people in the business. And I understand it. Songwriters, you build relationship with other songwriters. Producers build relationship with other producers. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Having a network is great, but there is a difference between having a network and having a group of people around you that's a team, that's a supportive team for you. Big difference. Network and relationships. I put out a video a couple years ago, that talked, there are no friends in the music business. Your relationships, you can make relationships, but you'll find out who your friends are real quick when you start succeeding more than they do and they're just happy for you. Or you got to sometimes even turn that around and look, when you see somebody that you have a friendship with in this business succeed, or do something you haven't accomplished yet, or have some level of success you haven't reached. If you can honestly look at them and go, I am 100% selflessly happy for that person, then maybe that's a friendship. But I think if most of you look at yourself honestly, there's always that little bit of, man, I wish it was me. That also might mean that this other person you're talking about might think you're one of the people that they can draw hope from, but really they can't because you're on your own journey. That's competitive. It's okay to be competitive, but that's more networking. That's relationship. That's a business relationship. It's not a personal, selfless relationship. And we've all got them. My point is that maybe we just need to better identify the types of relationships that we have with these different people so that we can make sure that we classify them properly so that we don't go searching for hope from people that we're not going to get it from and we're not going to find it from. Because hope is an important part of the process. It's probably why it's high on the steps. Step number 2. We've admitted we had a problem. That's step 1. Now it's about hope. Who's surrounding you? Who around you can you look to for hope and inspiration? Somebody that has nothing to gain from your success, that's willing to step in and provide that pat on the shoulder, that soft place to fall. More importantly, that person that you can be you with and not feel like you're being weak or that you're giving an opening for somebody to take advantage of. Guys, I know some of this stuff is hard to think about because it requires you to take an honest assessment of yourself and the people that you consider to be your friends, the people that you have made a wise decision on sometimes and a not so wise decision on the other hand to surround yourself with. But I promise you that taking this assessment is one of the keys of being successful. Step 2 is hope. Make sure you've got that higher power. Make sure you've got and have surrounded yourself with that person or people that, again, it's so important, selflessly want to help hope with you and encourage you. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast. That is step 2. We are heading down all 12 steps. It's a 12-part series, the 12-step program for musicians. I hope you got something out of today's podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast if you're listening in audio form anywhere you get your podcast. If you're enjoying the video version on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments in the comments section below. If you want to know more about me, want to get in touch, you join the newsletter, all that stuff can be found at my website, thestevefreeman.com. Guys, until next time, keep being creative, keep pressing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. See you in the next one.